Hello everyone, welcome back to the World Conflict Monitor channel. Please subscribe my channel to stay updated with the most important developments shaping today's world. In the early hours of a chilling morning, Russia unleashed one of the most devastating missile barrages of the war, targeting the very heart of Ukraine's power grid and burning Kyiv's central power hub. The scale of the attack stunned observers, not only because of the destruction, but because it revealed the deep vulnerabilities in Ukraine's infrastructure and the dangerous willingness of Moscow to push the conflict to new extremes. This story is about more than just missiles and explosions. It is about strategy, survival, and the message being sent to the West, a message that resonates far beyond the borders of Ukraine. The summary of this event is simple yet alarming. Russia launched its largest missile strike in months, raining dozens of precision-guided weapons and drones onto Kyiv and surrounding cities. The primary target was not military installations, but the energy backbone of the capital, substations, distribution hubs, and the central power plant that fuels much of daily life in the city. Massive fires erupted, black smoke filled the sky, and hundreds of thousands were plunged into darkness. Kyiv's residents, already battered by months of war, once again found themselves huddled in basements, metro stations, and shelters as air defense systems lit up the night. The West, shocked by both the intensity and timing of the attack, immediately condemned Russia's escalation, but the core reality on the ground remained unchanged. Kyiv's lifeline had been struck, and Ukraine's resilience was being tested in new ways. Looking at the exterior of this development, the sheer size of the attack gives us the first impression of Moscow's intent. Externally, the strike was designed to showcase overwhelming force, with wave after wave of cruise missiles, ballistic projectiles, and Iranian-made drones entering Ukrainian airspace. The glow of explosions on the horizon lit up the capital, while the external appearance of the assault was meant to terrify both civilians and political leaders. The skies above Kyiv became a theater of war, with defense interceptors firing in multiple directions and the thunder of explosions echoing across the city. Externally, the assault was meant to be visible not just to Ukrainians but to the global community, signaling that Russia still has the capacity to escalate on a massive scale despite sanctions, battlefield losses, and international pressure. Inside the situation, the interior perspective paints a harsher, more intimate picture. For families living in Kyiv, the interior meant rooms suddenly plunged into cold and darkness, apartments without heating, and hospitals scrambling to keep critical equipment running on backup generators. In the interior of the power center itself, the damage was catastrophic. Walls caved in, transformers melted, and emergency workers tried to contain the fires. The interior reality for ordinary Ukrainians was one of fear, uncertainty, and adaptation, as they sought candles, flashlights, and makeshift heating methods to survive. While the exterior might appear as an immense display of military firepower, the interior reveals human endurance and suffering, the private struggles of millions who must carry on daily life amid targeted infrastructure destruction. When we analyze the performance of this strike, it becomes clear that Russia executed a well-coordinated operation that tested Ukraine's air defenses to the maximum. The performance of Russian missiles and drones was formidable in sheer numbers, overwhelming systems by saturation. Ukraine's air defense claimed to have intercepted many incoming threats, yet the performance of Russia's strategy ensured that at least a handful of critical weapons got through, striking the intended power center with devastating precision. On the Ukrainian side, the performance of the defensive network was admirable, managing to shield much of the city, but even high-performing defenses cannot guarantee total security against such concentrated barrages. Performance here is not measured only in technical terms but also in psychological impact, and in that regard, Russia's strike achieved its aim of instilling dread, sparking international headlines, and reminding the West of the costs of continued confrontation. Safety features, or the lack thereof, stand out as a tragic theme in this event. Unlike military bases designed with hardened shelters, civilian infrastructure like power stations does not come with comprehensive safety features against advanced missile strikes. This left Kyiv's grid highly vulnerable. The safety features that did come into play were those of Ukraine's civil defense systems, early warning sirens, public shelters in metro tunnels, and rapid emergency response units battling fires and repairing lines. Safety features at the household level were limited to what individuals could manage themselves, storing batteries, using generators, and relying on solidarity within communities. The absence of real protective infrastructure against high-tech missile systems underlined the vulnerability of Ukraine's urban centers, despite billions in Western military aid. The unique selling points of this attack, if framed as part of Russia's broader war effort, lie in the psychological and strategic leverage it provides. By striking Kyiv's power hub, Moscow demonstrated that it can target not just the battlefield but the backbone of civilian life. This strike was not about territory but about leverage, showing Ukrainians that their daily comfort, heating, electricity, and even medical security can be switched off at will. Another unique selling point for Russia was its ability to integrate drones and missiles in waves, forcing air defenses to spend valuable interceptors on cheap drones before more lethal missiles arrived. For Ukraine and its Western allies, the unique selling point was resilience. Despite the shock, Kyiv did not collapse, emergency crews worked around the clock, and within days, parts of the grid were back online, a testament to the determination to resist. The price of this strike can be measured on several levels. Economically, the immediate damage to the energy infrastructure ran into tens of millions of dollars, with long-term reconstruction projected in the billions. For residents, the price was nights without heat, days without reliable electricity, and the constant strain of living in uncertainty. On the Russian side, the price of firing so many advanced missiles was enormous, with estimates running into hundreds of millions of dollars in a single night's operation, raising questions about sustainability. Politically, the price was international condemnation, further isolation, and renewed pledges of Western support for Ukraine. Yet Russia calculated that the price was worth paying, believing the psychological and practical disruption dealt to Ukraine outweighed the costs. In conclusion, Russia's largest missile barrage against Kyiv's power center was not just another episode in the war but a turning point that highlighted the vulnerabilities of modern societies in asymmetric conflicts. The strike burned more than just transformers and wires. It burned into the consciousness of Ukrainians and their allies the reality that this war is as much about survival of infrastructure as it is about survival of armies. The exterior showed firepower, the interior showed suffering. The performance showed both strengths and weaknesses of modern defenses, the safety features showed the fragility of civilian systems, the unique selling points showed the strategies behind escalation, and the price showed the costs borne by all sides. As the West absorbs the shock of this escalation, the lesson is clear: infrastructure wars are wars of endurance, and Kyiv's burned power center is now a symbol of both vulnerability and resilience. The world watches as Ukraine rebuilds, and Russia recalculates, but one truth stands out: this conflict has entered a new phase where the battlefield is not just territory, but the power grid, the city streets, and the daily lives of millions.